Folktales of Hawaii, He Mau Ka'au Hawaii, collected and translated by Mary Kawena Pukui, with Laura C.S. Green.
Makanikeoe, the god of love. It is said that Makanikeoe and his sister Lauka'iaie came to the district of Puna from foreign lands. Upon their arrival, they said to each other, "You go your way, and I will go mine." Makanikeoe spied the mouth of a certain cave and, entering, followed along a secret passage and came out on the side of a mountain, where he found a man weeping. Through his power as a god, he recognized the man as Kanekoa and asked him, "What are you doing here?" "I am here because my father and mother-in-law have cast me out and taken away my wife," answered Kanekoa. The god could not help laughing. "What caused all this trouble?" he inquired. "My mother-in-law thinks me an idle, worthless person," said Kanekoa. "She is not satisfied unless I'm always working. If I rest while I am cultivating the land, she calls it laziness. If I stop a while when out fishing, that is idleness also. She wants me to work without ceasing." The god invited Kanekoa to share his cave, saying, "You are to become a good friend of mine, and you must give attention to all that I teach you." As they approached the cave, there appeared spontaneously bananas, ava, taro, sweet potatoes, and yams through the power of the god. Then the god told Kanekoa, "Pound an abundant supply of taro root, then go to the side of the road and invite wayfarers to partake." Kanekoa did as he was told. He pounded the taro root for food and called to the travelers, "Come and eat, come and eat." Those who were hungry followed him to the cave and ate, and they took back to Ka'u this strange news about Kanekoa. About this time, Kanekoa's father and mother-in-law began to enter into negotiations with another man who wanted to marry their daughter. When they heard the news about Kanekoa, they were so indignant that they immediately set out for Ola'a with the man whom they'd chosen for their new son-in-law, intending to kill Kanekoa. The god, who knew of their plan, warned his friend, "I'm going to change myself into a tree and stand at the mouth of the cave," he said. "When your wife's relatives come to do you harm, step on my body." This was the first intimation Kanekoa had of his friend's divinity. Kanekoa went to the roadside as usual, and presently he saw his wife's relatives approaching. While his mother-in-law scolded him, his rival ran forward with a wooden club, intending to kill him. Kanekoa ran to the entrance of the cave and climbed upon a limb of the tree. Instantly, he felt himself being gently lowered. The trunk of the tree became like the body of a man, and a loud voice cried, "Hearken, old tree ferns!" And the ferns cried, "Here we are, here we are!" He called to the bird's nest fern and the fiber-bearing vine, and to every wild plant of the mountain, to the other ferns, also the mountain apple trees and the mile vine, and each responded, "Here we are, here we are!" The terror-stricken intruder threw down their clubs and fled, imagining they had heard the voices of innumerable gods of the wilderness. Soon after this, the god, knowing that a famine was to come upon the district of Ka'u, directed his friend, "If your wife comes to ask for food, feed her, but drive off her relatives and friends. Surely, since they have called you an idle, worthless fellow, they cannot eat your food." "If they come weeping, I may pity them," said Kanekoa. "Drive them away and see what will happen," insisted the god. When the famine came, as had been predicted, many came to Kanekoa for food and, returning, reported to the people of Ka'u, "Kanekoa has an abundance of food. his wife went weeping to her mother and said, "It is because you have driven away my husband, the only one who has a food supply, and because you want me to take this new husband. That is why we now feel the pangs of hunger." So the family set out for the cave. Kanekoa, fearing to disobey the god, allowed only his wife to enter. The others waited without. When they tried to enter, the magic tree hit them with its branches and drove them away. After a little, the wife said to her mother, "I have a vision of the feast of Kanekoa. Let me go away to the seashore day by day to seek black crabs for food." "Go, child, for we are weak with hunger," replied the mother. Then the wife flew to her husband, and when her appetite was appeased, she returned to her mother saying there were no black crabs at all on shore. This she did day by day until she grew quite plump and pretty, while her parents were starving with hunger. At last, the parents could endure it no longer. They begged Kanekoa to take pity on them, calling him our good son and provider of parents. The god forgave them and promised them food, only they must return to Kanekoa, his wife, and banish the new husband, and then go home to their own home and leave the wife to live with her husband. Kanekoa pitied his starving rival and gave him sweet potatoes before he went. But the father and mother-in-law stoned him out of the district, and he took refuge in Kona. After this, the god bequeathed to his friend the cave and all its provisions, and went forward on his mission of love. Once, according to the story, he found a woman with a broken leg and carried her back to the cave and gave her to his friend to care for, bidding him treat her kindly as he himself had been treated. To this day, when there is quarreling in the family, old Hawaiians in Ka'u remark, "Makanikeoe is gone from home." And when peace is restored, they say, "Makanikeoe has returned."